Serving Tampa Bay since 1954, the Heritage Station. WTMP, Egypt Lake, Tampa, Clearwater, 97.5 in Pinellas.
Election time, because that's kind of when they show up in the hood, and they knocking on folks' door,
Don't be
and
doing
they
that.
trying to get votes, and,
You're not
and
PC, Eddie.
they pretty much trying to play the community for suckers, But anyway, that's not normally me, because I normally don't have to do it, because again, at the end of the day, we've been around for 10 years. We don't just show up during election time. So
We top rated continuously.
anyway, welcome. The 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. And anyone else who's having a birthday today, happy birthday to you. We just wanted to say that these are some difficult times that we're living in.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of young people are living through something that they've never seen before. Considering, like I tell people sometimes, I'm one of those old coots.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in 1953. So I went through the whole civil rights movement and all the riots and all the national unrest that went along with that. But for this generation, it's been 40 years since any of that stuff happened. And now all of a sudden in 2020, we got a new movement. And it's got several different names. And part of that whole process is getting a new generation. It skipped a couple of generations, because if you go back to the 60s, that's probably 50 years ago, and many of these people was not born. Many of the people only read about it, heard about it, saw clips here and there on TV. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have Facebook. They didn't have Twitter, Instagram, and all those other things out there that now make people famous. It didn't exist. All the video we have white folks killing black folks and cops killing and black folks killing black folks and all this other stuff. It wasn't there for immediately at your fingertips if you actually missed the action to pull it up and watch it 400 times, which is what people do nowadays, especially these young kids. If they see something, it wasn't the first time. They got to see it 10, 20 times before they get it. And again, that's a new thing. So I already started the show saying I'm an old fogey. So anyway, this is Porch Talk Radio, and this is Eddie Adams Jr., your host, and sitting here with Gabriel Phillips.
Live.
And
On Facebook.
for those who, Facebook Live, for those folks, we can have a different kind of show today. For those who called in last week and we did not get to your call, that's because you called in too late in the show. You sit there for a whole hour. I got to get this off my chest.
Mm-hmm.
You sit there for a whole hour, then you wait for the last 5 minutes to call the show. But guess what? If you keep doing that, you won't get on, because sometimes, we have 4 or 5 people on the line when the show's over, and because of that, we can't ask if we have a host, we have a guest on, we ask them to speed up their conversation, because you wait till the last minute of the show to call. I'm sorry. I got to get that out. I got to say that. So if you want to call, add to the show, you got something good you want to say. Another thing, folks don't realize, this show is not free. So for every minute of the show, somebody, usually me, is paying $5 a minute. So if you are saying something and it's something that's not adding to the conversation, or some people call every now and then trying to be funny, again, you're being funny at the cost of someone else. So we will not hesitate to either not take your call. I'm just saying, stating the rule. We hesitate not to take your call, or we won't hesitate to cut you off. So govern yourself accordingly. All right. That being said.
So folks, try and keep the calls constructive. That's a nice word. Constructive. You're adding to the conversation as opposed to the opposite of just complaining, whining. We understand that everybody's happy with life sometimes, and we got that. We're there sometimes. But as Eddie has pointed out, ain't nothing free, and he's not going to pay to hear your complaint. If you have something constructive to add to the conversation, that's great. If you have a direct question, try and limit yourself to a minute, please, because we got other people. We're the highest rated show again, and we have a lot of people want to call in, see what's happening. So please keep it short, to the point, and we're good.
And sometimes somebody doesn't want to be heard on the radio too. So that being said, if you want to call in during the show, you want to call in, be on the show, you know, the call-in number here, WTMP, Porch Talk Radio, is 813-251-9867. 813-251-9867. If you want to call me on my cell phone, I haven't heard nearly as many complaints about Gabriel over the last several weeks, so
We're wearing them down, Eddie. We're wearing them down.
So if you want to call me on my cell phone to add to the show, complain, or do anything you want to do, my cell phone number, Eddie Adams Jr. personal cell phone number is 813-230-3312. 813-230-3312. So that's me personally to talk about something. And again, I'm giving it out because people call. People call all week sometimes. Sometimes they call right after the show. Sometimes they call during the week. Sometimes they got questions. And every now and then they may want to contact one of our guests after the show is over. We didn't say the info enough and they want to call or donate or help or volunteer or do some of that kind of stuff. Now, if you need to email me, Eddie, E-D-D-I-E, Eddie at porchtalkradio.com. So Eddie at porchtalkradio.com. If you want to email me, if you want to go to the website, porchtalkradio.com. And Facebook Live. Thank you guys for looking. Thank you guys for following us. And we're gonna do some things that kind of our top priority has always been to forward and bring information to the community. How we make the community better. How to make folks who listen to this show, smarter. That kind of go hand in hand. The more informed you are, the better you are, and the more functional you are as a community. The topics we're going to deal with today, I'm going to tell you right up front, they're going to be controversial. They're going to make some people mad. They're going to make some other people upset. But I have said from the very beginning, we're not going to bite our tongue. We're going to put stuff out there. And every now and then, it is of that nature. So for those folks who get upset, use your phone, give us a call. I mean, a lot of the stuff you can call and give us your opinion. I mean, because that's all it is. Some of this stuff is pretty much an opinion or a feeling, and that makes it interesting to everybody. I have an agenda, but we don't have a script. I don't read a script. Nobody on this program, none of our guests have scripts when they come.
I don't even know what a script is. Something we don't. Oh, that. Okay. We don't have that, folks.
So like I say, I have an agenda of which is stuff we would like to get to, but what we actually say about that stuff, is dependent upon the callers, the question, what the guest says, and then every now and then we may have to defend something or something said or something we say, because again, like I said, at the end of the day, we have people who listen to this show on a regular basis, and I must say, every now and then, we have something that's controversial because I am primarily talking to the black or the urban community here in Tampa Bay. I have a lot of white listeners. I am aware of that. But some of the stuff that I need to say for the community may upset a bunch of white folks. Because one of the things we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about judges. And the fact that there was only 7 female judges in the county system. There was 7 minority female in the county system. 4 Hispanic and 3 blacks in the whole county judge system. And so that's a travesty. And one of the ways that we change the community which we live in and the way the system reacts to black and brown males and females, is that we get folks that make the decision about how many years they're going to spend in jail, or whether or not they're going to go to jail, or whether or not they're going to get a suspended sentence and all that kind of stuff, is the system. And we usually very seldom know very little about those people. I mean, we know about everybody. You know, we may know about the senators, and we know about the governors and presidents, and even the school board members, you know, get a lot of press and get a lot of controversy and conversation going. But we very rarely hear about judges before they get elected. Now we may get a lot about them after they get elected, you know. But you know, I go to the Hillsborough County Supervisor Election website on a regular basis, and I see we probably got 4 or 5 judges. 4 or 5 judges that had no opposition.
Wow.
That means nobody ran against them. All they did was apply, do their paperwork, come up with a filing fee, and no opposition. They in. No, they ain't got to worry about the election. They already in there. When the next term starts, they're on the bench.
Whether they were good or bad, it doesn't matter.
Good, bad, they make no difference. Nobody else
That's
thought
amazing.
enough of those positions to run.
Wow.
And again, you know, it's a lot of time, you know, somebody first time. I'm gonna tell you what very seldom happens. A first time person seeking any kind of post goes unopposed. Now you may be an incumbent, and nobody know you, and people know you may be so big and so bad, and everybody know who you are, and they say, well, I ain't gonna waste my money running against, you know, John Smoke because you know I can't win. You know, now that happens every now and then, but a lot of these judge slots, that's not the case. Not only do you don't know who these judge candidates are, it's a lot of other people. A lot of other people in the system don't know who some of these people are. So it's important for this community that constantly complains about everything. Gotta show up and know who these candidates are and vote for somebody. I ain't saying I ain't this week. I ain't telling you who to vote for, but you got to show up and vote. So in order for you to vote for these people, you need to know who they are. Everybody who has access to the internet can go to the Supervisor of Election website. If you go to the Supervisor of Election website for Hillsborough County, everybody running for a local slot is there. Not only are they there, the information is there. Who they are, how much money they got, you know, if they got some issues or something, it usually can take you to their web page so you can find out who they are, what their issues are, where they've been, what they've done. You know, all that stuff is there. Now, you got to take the time, you got to take the energy, you got to put forth a little effort so that when election day comes, and all these judges who actually have to go through the process, you don't just pick somebody or you don't just skip the slot for judges.
So Eddie, you're saying basically that people have to get off the couch, or they can actually stay on the couch,
Sit
pull
on
out the
the couch,
laptop,
yeah.
get the phone, get the Android, the iPad, and look up the information, because we have information right there on the website. And if you choose not to go look it up, and then you're going to waste your time complaining and other people's time complaining, maybe it's you.
Well, I'm gonna say this: we get treated unfairly in the system. So the only thing you can do is change the system. Either change the systems for the people running it and the people in it,
Okay.
or you make them change the policies. But right now, it's not working for black folks. I'm sorry. You know, so a lot of folks may get offended when I say that, you know, because, you know, they ain't black. So I like it when somebody who's not black or not brown try to explain to me how everything is so good and how everything is so fair. They can only see it from their point of view. From their point of view, the cop down the street, the lawyer, the judges, everybody pretty much in that system with power look like them. And there's a bias, and a lot of folks don't want to hear about systematic racism. any kind of systematic anything that has to do with somebody getting ahead in this system. Well, I'm gonna tell you something, and there was one time, back in the day, right after affirmative action passed, and I'm saying this now, and it's a bad word, but it was successful. When they had racial quotas. I know a lot of you old folks remember the racial quotas. Well, what happened with racial quotas was some people, very smart people, decided, well, if we're going to make up for 400 years of injustice to a race of people that we have benefited from economically for 400 years of free labor, at some point in time, somebody could probably put a price on that, how many trillions of dollars that the country grew, individuals grew from free labor. And don't try to explain to me, how it was good for the black folks to be slaves.
Yeah, that was right.
Because I had somebody trying to do that.
That was right.
And for the number of slaves that actually died on the way here. At some point in time, it became very, very, and I think I was hearing on the way in here, someone saying, telling a story about how they actually had slaves in New York City. How many people in New York City, back in the 1800s, that had slaves.
I don't think we're allowed to hear about that.
And I know you're not, because that's not in the books. But it's a lot of people. It is hard for folks to give up free stuff. I'm just saying. And white folks, they pin that on black folks. But there's a whole bunch of white folks that did not want to give up mammy, nursing and taking care of their kids. It's a whole bunch of white folks that was born and raised on black mother's milk. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. That made it so that the white women could go do a whole bunch of other stuff other than raise their own kids. That's why I actually went to a funeral a couple of weeks ago, and this lady was 101 years old. Mm-hmm. And I kind of mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, and she's a friend of my mom's forever, and she's a friend of our family. But all she did, pretty much most of her life, was she was a domestic maid. She worked in someone's house. Mm-hmm. So she raised 2 or 3 generations of white folks.
Wow.
And guess what? They came to the funeral. They was there.
Wow.
So they remember, this lady. Time, energy, effort over the years, mm-hmm. And they all grown. They all in their 40s and 50s, and a couple of them was in their 30s. So this woman had spent her whole life being a domestic servant. And part of that process has to be is at some point in time, humanity shows up. It may not be for the original mm-hmm. person that hired them, but for the kids, I'm talking to you white folks now, but some of you guys actually love those people who spent time with you when you was young. Mm-hmm. You did. And again, I didn't know these people. I didn't know none of these people, but of course, I wasn't that person. The person that came to the funeral to see off, was a person who had spent most of their life taking care of them. So it's not all bad in that at some point in time humanity shows up. And for 200 or 300 years of slavery, it was a lot of money made, a lot of white folks made good. You're talking about families, Vanderbilts, you're talking about the DuPonts, you're talking about folks who made money, Standard Oil people, families that made money 100 years ago, 200 years ago, that still got money today, that was not available to black and brown people. And because they got generational wealth, they made money off free labor that set them up so that now they got to pay for labor. They good. And some of these people made so much money, they could not spend it in a lifetime. Not only can they not spend it, their children can't spend it in a lifetime. And their children's children can't spend it in a lifetime. That's how much money that was made when they was making the money.
Eddie, you're talking about some things that are sometimes painful. You talk about New York had black people, slaves, and that's nothing that's been mentioned,
right?
Period. And I'd seen a little Facebook meme that showed a person kind of had a bland face, and one of their eyes was bleeding a little bit, and it said sometimes opening your eyes may be the most painful thing you ever have to do. And for black and white people across this nation, understanding that there are hijackers out there that are using minorities, and it's just commonplace now. We're just used to it. And hopefully we can spot them and go, wait a minute, how many dollars has your organization helped the black community anywhere in America? How many rec centers have you built? How many kids, minority kids, black kids, Hispanic kids have you helped with your organization on providing funding for computers or something like that? And if it's just some corporation out there and they're just saying all this stuff but they're doing nothing, you have to begin to wonder, so you're really not for my cause, you're for your cause.
Right.
Now in America, you got a choice. Do I support this corporation or do I not? And if you're not, then you need to walk away and be aware. BLM right now, they pulled in $1 billion over the last few years. Not $1 that we've been told of in America has made it to any black community in America. So BLM is about BLM.
Right.
And that's their choice.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
yeah.
their choice. It's a corporation.
Yeah.
They're making money. They're making it big. And it's up for minorities to go, you know, that's not for me. Because it ain't for my cause. Because none of that money, $1 billion, is making it into my community to help my people.
And see, part of it has to do with, of the Fortune 500 companies, think about those richest of the rich
Huge.
companies. You know, how much of their board of directors, how much of their employees, how much of their product is being sold, bought, purchased by blacks and black and brown people.
That's a lot of dollars.
And again, back to the quotas. Back when they had the quotas, remember why? I want you to think back, the older folks. Remember why they got rid of quotas? Why quotas became a bad word? Because there was a white medical student in California who could not get into med school, and he took the state to court. And he won his case because he says some unqualified black person was sitting in a seat that he was overly qualified for. Now, they forget about 400 years of slavery, 200 years of that, 100 years of that. One white guy felt that he was supposed to be in med school, and there was some unqualified black person sitting in his seat. And they protest, and they sued. And next thing you know, everybody in the country was saying, oh, quotas is a bad thing. Well, that's how it happened. A lot of folks don't know that. They don't teach that in school. They don't know how it went from basically being a system in which they were trying to make everybody equal. They were trying to make up for 400 years of slavery and wrongdoing and being held under the thumb of the man. I usually don't talk like that, but I'm just trying to make a point. Being held under the thumb, under the heel of someone who really didn't give a crap about you, didn't have your best interest at heart, and all it took was one case to change all the legislation and all the history of affirmative action and all the good that it was doing. Affirmative action was the economic answer to how we make things right. Affirmative action, and the quotas said that you will admit 10% of your student body in the university system would be black and brown. That's what it was. It was a 10% quota. Some places may have been more, some places may have been less, but they had a target. And it was in such a way, even black folks saying, well, if we have a quota, see, because they brainwash black folks. Well, if we got a quota, then they're not gonna ever hire over that. See, that's how they make you think. They had you thinking that somehow the quota system was wrong because even though they never like the city of Tampa, the county, the University of South Florida, just look around where you live. Most of those people spend less than 2% of their total spending with black and brown businesses. And I'm saying definitely with black businesses. Less than 2% of all the money they spend. Now, if you take that and you say, well, everybody got to spend X number of dollars or so much percentage of your dollars, with these minorities, we can make an effort that will create millions of minority millionaires, billionaires. Because if people buying your product or buying your service, that makes the economy within those communities bigger, better, badder. People can actually afford to buy a decent house. And you ain't got to go nowhere. You can tear down that $50,000 shack you live in and build a $300,000 shack that these white folks are now doing. Because they're coming in the black neighborhood. Now you're a target. And they know how to change your neighborhood because if they tear down a $50,000 shack and build a $350,000 shack on that same property, guess what? You and your $50,000 shack next door can't stay there because the tax is going to go up so high that they're going to run you out. And that's what they're doing. That's how they're running black folk. That's how they decided it wasn't enough cheap, free white land out there. They're going to come into the hood. That's what gentrification is. I'm just making it simple. That's how they gentrify a neighborhood. They make it so that you can't stay there because of the taxes. That's where the government comes in and helps them make you move. Because if you go down to Ybor City, go to Ybor City right now. Everything within 4 blocks of Ybor City in either direction used to be black and Hispanic. Mm-hmm. Used to be. Now, if you go down there, a single lot that's got cars in it, is paying close to $10,000 a year taxes.
Wow, that's pretty amazing, Eddie. And it helps the community in one area, but it shoots everybody else in the foot. But we talked in a prior show where there was a black neighborhood that was moved out, and the rest of us have to go, well, where did they move to? They just went poof. And these are real people whose lives are suddenly being uprooted. Maybe it's a house they grew up in themselves. And now they're being told, no, we got to move you out. We're going to go do something else. But I'm almost 99.9% sure it's not a better house they're being moved into.
No.
They're not being swapped deeds with another property. Oh, here's your nice $100,000 house we're going to move you into. It's never that way. These people just go poof because the system, they do that eminent domain thing and just take over the properties. And ladies and gentlemen, as we go across the nation right now, with the police brutality situations that have been going on, if we, back to my original saying, sometimes opening your eyes, it hurts, it's painful. The people that have been put in power in all these particular regions around the country right now that are suffering the most from police brutality, from rioting and looting, it's all one-sided. So if you say, well, no, you're just not being, no. These people that are in power were voted into power in these towns with their policies, and it's failed America badly.
And again, this is Porch Talk Radio, so we're talking the talk for Facebook Live for everybody that's watching.
Like and share.
Okay, you want to know how to stop all these polices from beating up, killing, shooting, black folks? Make everybody with a gun that works for a law enforcement agency get insurance. See, we can't do it, But if they get to get insurance, and every time somebody shoots somebody and it's wrong for death, and an insurance company got to pay for it, guess what? That crap will change overnight.
I agree.
I guarantee you, if they all had to get a gun, if everybody with a gun had to get insurance, think about it. If you had to get insurance, and if you shot and killed somebody, and they went and took you to court, and civil court and they won, and then the insurance company had to pay for it, guess what? You wouldn't have to worry about it no more. Because every time they pull that gun out, they would think 400, they would think like they were shooting a white man.
Gee, that idea is not as simple as mine, just vote Republican. But I know that people be more accountable, responsible, more training and more oversight, but everybody
Yeah,
have
of
a
course they
body
would.
cam in the
Yeah.
entire planet
Yeah.
to have body cams to make sure that video was played over and checked out.
Well, those sensitivity classes they go through will have some teeth in them.
Ah,
You know,
Big time.
because if you shoot and kill somebody and they go to civil court and a jury, you know, for whatever the reason, you know, decided that cop was wrong and the insurance company had to pay out a bunch of money.
that insurance company be up.
They change. They change overnight because it's about money. At the end of the day,
Immediately.
everything, when they say follow the dollars, it's about money. It's about economics of it all. And if you want to change your economic system in your community, talk to your leaders. Talk to them about something what they're doing in Atlanta, Georgia, of all places. They got a policy now, they got a process where they're trying to get a 15% quota system. If you own a business, 15% of your staff, employees, need to be black. 15% of the property or the products you sell need to be back.
That's going to be Eddie. No,
I'm just saying-
that's going to be hijacked. You know that.
I
They're
know-
going to screw that up.
I know they're going to bring white women in, which is
They're
what
gonna
did
screw that up,
for the
Eddie.
whole system to start with. But at the end of the day, they got a target. You got a target to aim for, because not having a target gets us what we got. Less than 1% in the city of Tampa. The city of Tampa has a budget over $1 billion. Less than 1% of that goes to the black community. I can't say about the Hispanic, but less than
It's
one
gotta be
that
less.
is bought goods and services from the black community. You can change the plight of a whole community just by doing the right thing. Because the fact that in order for them to do less than what they are doing and USF is doing and a lot of these Fortune 500 companies are doing in the Tampa Bay area, most of them spend not 2%, not 1%, less than 1% of the goods and services that they buy, they actually buy from black people.
Wow, and you know, looking at and I know a lot of our politicians here in Tampa, and it's a system, and I keep hearing the systemic racism, and it's come to life right now, particularly. But again, folks, these people that are there making those decisions that have been making them for years, for decades, they've been voted in.
Hundreds of years.
They've been voted in, and it's one particular side again.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to change, and it keeps talking about change the system, you got to change the people.
Mm-hmm.
If you leave the people in place but change the rules around like that 15% left, that's going to get screwed up.
Yeah.
It sounds good, but it's going to get screwed up. It's going to be hijacked.
But see, the other thing about power.
Oh boy.
Power never voluntarily gives up anything.
I don't care what party.
It only succumbs to a greater power.
Wow.
Right now, this country is going through a lot of economic distress.
Mm-hmm.
And white folks, why are they looting and shooting and rioting and burning and pillaging and this and this and this? White folks been doing that for thousands of years, not hundreds of thousands of years, you know, because they've done it everywhere on the planet. They've done it everywhere. The whole idea of having a war, well, if I'm going to war and you lose, guess what? I'm going to enslave your people. You know, I'm going to take all your property. You know, I'm going to take your women and children and make them slaves. I mean, that's what they've done.
Wait a minute, Eddie. They just had a statistic out a week and a half ago. 17% of the rioters and looters were black. That means 83% were white liberals.
White and others.
Wow. Talking
Right.
about hijacking the minorities again.
Yeah.
So all that burning and looting, we know 83% were white liberals.
All right, now we got a call, so we're gonna take a call. Welcome to Porch Talk Radio this
That's a good one, Eddie.
Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello,
Hi, how you doing, brother? This is Sister Connie Burton. How you doing?
Sister. Welcome to Porch Talk. Glad to hear you.
God bless you.
Yes, sir. And so, you know, what you first described as quota, to be honest, we know that is what really created the black middle class.
Right, it did.
People being people being able to go into those spaces that, irregardless of their credentials, Porch had to be implied. What happened is other folks found a way to hijack the system. So now you will find part of that minority group has expanded, and the very people it was intended to help is still at the bottom ladder.
Yes.
Right.
When you talk about the ongoing crisis inside the community, I don't know how long I've been talking to you, brother, about a different housing model, and we talk about it and go down to that city council. We encourage the people to vote and have a peaceful means so we can have a different resolution. But unfortunate for us, brother, it is always to be centralized where certain black people will be in key places of employment that deal with social and economic justice that's black like me, but they don't have power. They become, just mere figureheads. And so what we see now is an opportunity in the city of Tampa and throughout the whole country, is that it's just going to have to decide what type of America they want to live in. Because it's not enough for you to tell me, and they watch their grandmamas and throughout the generation pull themselves up by the bootstrap, go to college, do this, jump through all kind of hoops, and still find systems of denial. The systems got to be broke down. People got to be honest in their approach. You talk about the University of South Florida. We don't even talk about all the property the University of Tampa has purchased over there in West Tampa, where black folks ain't gonna be able to set foot over there again.
Right.
All these is the practices of racism, and white people is gonna have to confront. They're gonna have to confront these racist policies, whether it is from an economic standpoint or the criminalization standpoint. And those of us in the gap of, like we say, speak truth to power, it is our responsibility to help shape, work with young people that's in the streets right now. So we just won't simply just go back to a business as usual model. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Connie. And again, if we look at the issues today, how many families have been crying over the last 6 months, over the last couple of years, because someone in their family, some loved one, got killed by accident? Because that's what they say. I thought you were somebody else, like that black woman who was in her house. They knocked the door in, shot and killed her in her own house. Oh, we were looking for somebody else. Well, that don't bring that person back.
No.
And those kind of accidents, like I say, if they had to get insurance,
Oh boy.
they wouldn't ever shoot anybody by accident again.
No.
I'm serious.
No.
If look at what they do when policies like that come into effect, where the police departments have to get insurance on every officer that's carrying a gun. I'm throwing it because I'm looking for solutions. I'm trying to throw out possibilities how you change it, because we as black folks complaining they ain't gonna change the system. I'm telling you that right now. Now what you got to do is you got to make it so that it costs somebody some money to keep killing folks. You see what I'm saying?
It's gotta hurt. It's gotta hurt.
It's gotta hurt. It's gotta be a financial. It's gotta be something economic. And I'm gonna tell you something else. At whatever time, and when I was talking about the 15% in Atlanta, if you don't buy and you don't have 15% of your people that's black, minorities, or however you want to do that thing, then there's penalties. There's some kind of financial cost to you. And if you got a retail product store or something, 15% of those shelves need to have products produced by black folks. Because that's the only way you're going to change the economic system is get in it. You can't, if they got 4 bottles of something on the shelf somewhere and say, all our black product is back there and we got 4 bottles of it. And they got 100,000 bottles of everything else in the damn store.
Yeah.
That's not how we're going to change this system.
And again, folks, Eddie keeps talking about the system, and I keep saying change the people, the people, the people. Stop keeping the same people in power. If the ones you've been voting for the last 30 years, you have seen systemic racism
Yep.
continue and get worse, then you've got to stop and think, well, gee, maybe the way I've been voting hasn't helped the people, your people. And this is both for Hispanic, black, everybody. If it's not helping your people, if their policies, and that's what Eddie's trying to explain here, the policies stay on. The policies go from decade to decade.
They sure do.
And if we keep this hiring the same employees back in the same training, the same people, the same mindset, then those policies continue decade after decade. The police brutality situations,
Yep.
the policies have been trained to those people by people that were voted into power. They were approved by the councilmen, by the commissioners. They were approved policies
Yeah.
that have been there, and everybody just keeps putting the same people in power. It's time to change.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what don't happen.
Whew.
Everybody, especially the Democrats, have this saying, "Never let a good crisis go
Uh-oh.
to waste." As black people,
Mm.
as black folks, we cannot let this policy
Continue.
continue as it is without something changes, because everybody's in an uproar. Now you got everybody's attention.
Yeah. Now what?
I hate to say it like this, but now you got everybody's attention. Get something out of it. Use the democratic mantra. Don't let this crisis go to waste.
Eddie.
Make sure something political changes that's not gonna happen overnight, but you got to make something happen. You can't forget about this in 2 weeks, because they're depending on you having a short memory. They'll be over with it. It'll be over with in a couple weeks. Just wait it out. This ain't the corona damn virus.
Across America, Eddie, I predict, unfortunately, the same fools are going to be kept in power, and they're going to send more fools just like them up there, and we're going to have decades more of the same stuff happening. Because, again, it's just like an abused dog, Eddie. They just keep going back to their abuser.
Yeah.
They don't know any better. That's what they were raised in.
Right.
And when those policies have been there for decades, and those people keep enforcing the same old policies, Eddie keeps saying change the system, change the people.
Well, that's the other thing too. It's happening because these folks that's riding
Whew.
now, and think about slavery and what happened. Slavery would not have went through abolition without the abolitionists.
Without fighting.
Them were white folks.
There was fighting.
Them were white folks who sympathize,
Mm-hmm.
with black folks and say we want to be a part of something better, and it's wrong, and we're gonna change the system. Okay, we got another caller. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio. This Saturday afternoon. This is Eddie and
4th of
Gabriel.
July.
Yeah,
Woo.
4th of July. Eddie and Gabriel and folks on Facebook Live. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello.
Hi, this is Nancy Jacobs. How are you?
Hi, Nancy. Glad you're listening to the show.
Yes, I am. And I'm running for Hillsborough County Court Judge, and you're talking about judges and how to pick judges, and I'm trying to get on your show.
Yes, we're gonna talk about that this week. Remember?
Okay. So, yes, I sent my stuff in, and I'd like to get on the show and let people ask some questions, and that would be great. And if you want to ask me something now, I'm right here.
All right. Well, we already got it mapped out for the day. But when I get you scheduled, you're gonna have that show to get your message to the folks and let folks know who you are.
Okay, that sounds great.
All right. So thank you, and I'm glad you're listening, because that way you'll know what kind of show it is.
God bless.
I've been listening, Eddie. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. All right, we got another call. Caller,
That's
welcome
nice.
to Porch Talk Radio. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello?
It's Joe Robinson, man.
Joe.
Oh, my goodness.
Welcome, Joe.
Happy 4th of July. I don't care what no damn body say.
All right.
God bless you, brother.
Say this. All right. Let me keep it real here. First of all, I ain't seen that many policies change, and they've been marching and all this going on.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
And a damn policy change. It's been a few.
That's why we can't let it go to waste.
Got something on paper. However, let me just tell you one thing right now. I hope every damn body listens. Cut the player hate act now, or it's going to be an all-out war on the player hate. Joe Robinson don't play that. You start defaming characters, start making shit up, human language, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
Tell
Yeah.
him, cut the player hate now, or y'all going to have some serious problems in Tampa, Florida. Player hate. Now stop the player hating. Let's work and get something done. But if you don't know what the hell to do, say you're ignorant, you don't know what the hell to do, and ask them damn body how to get it done. They know how to get it done. So if
All right.
you want to player hate, you will get destroyed.
Mm.
Right, Joe.
Today on July 4th, the fireworks shot off last night at Mount Rushmore, you will get destroyed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm gonna say. Black people, wake up and stop player hate.
Thank you, Joe.
Player hate,
Amen.
you will get destroyed, and ain't nothing gonna happen.
Yeah.
Mark my words.
Thank you, Joe.
Have a
Thank you,
nice
Joe.
day.
Awesome.
And that brings. I know we got another caller. Let me say this. The important thing is, and I keep hearing people saying, "Oh, we're stronger together. We're stronger together."
But-
We're only stronger if we are together. The people that saying that ain't with nobody. You know, the people that are here
Boy.
saying that are out there by themselves
That's
doing
not
their own
good.
thing. Until we as a community get together and be stronger, it's not stronger together. They're
Correct.
saying it because somebody's paying them.
Oh.
Some advertising campaign agency came up, "Oh, we're stronger together." Now let's everybody say it. That ain't how it works.
That's the Hillary campaign
yeah,
slogan.
that's not how you're gonna make change happen.
No, didn't
All
help
right,
her.
caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio this Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello?
Hey, it's Candy Lowe.
Hey, Candy.
Awesome.
Wow, Joe Robinson is on fire. I love it when he's on fire like that.
Good. Thank you.
Listen, just want to let everyone know we have our candidate roll call again this year. It's next Saturday over at Al's Finger Licking Good Soul Food Restaurant. We have about 22 candidates so far
Mm.
that have signed up for it. We're going to be out on the patio in the back, social distancing. Everyone is encouraged to wear their masks. And we have from the sheriff, state attorney, county commission, school board, all will be there. Tax collector will be there. So we encouraging everyone to come out and get a chance to listen to the candidates, pick up your yard sign, your literature, your T-shirt, and it's from 10 a.m. to 12:30 at Al's Finger Licking Good Soul Food next Saturday.
Thank you, Candy.
Awesome.
I appreciate that so very much. That's why I keep telling you, call in, because sometimes I forget.
She's got some.
When,
She knows
when,
what's happening.
when I walk in here, I have an hour worth of I have an hour and a half worth of stuff, and only have an hour worth of program. So I occasionally forget. But thank you for calling in and reminding everybody to show up next Saturday for tea and conversation with Candy Lowe and all the candidates.
Sounds delicious already.
All right.
Finger
So
licking
thank you very much. Thank you very
barbecue.
much.
Is that barbecue?
All right. Yeah. But yeah, they got a little bit of everything. That's a good. They got some
Where?
good food. It's Al's Finger Licking Good
Al's.
on 7th Avenue.
Ooh,
It's on
let's go
7th
check that out.
and 7th and I want to say 24th or 25th.
Al's. Just look up
Yeah,
Al's.
Al's
All right.
Finger Licking Good. So that's where she's going to be next Saturday from 10 to 12:30. I think she just said.
Good time.
So anyway, okay, people. Let me do. Last week we got so busy we didn't get to on this day. So while we got a break in action here,
Let's do it.
let me go ahead and get it in. All right. On this day, the 4th of July, everybody know this is Independence Day.
The day.
But on July the 4th, 1776, the amended Declaration of Independence prepared by Thomas Jefferson was approved and signed by John Hancock, the President of the Continental Congress in America. Of America. On this day, in 1802, the U.S. Military Academy officially opened at West Point, New York. On this day, July 4th, 1803, the Louisiana Purchase, see, some of you guys got that in history, was
Beach.
announced in the newspaper. The property was purchased by the U.S. from France, and it was $15 million, or 3 cents an acre.
It's cost us ever since.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And on this day, July 4th, 1848, in Washington, D.C., the cornerstone for the Washington Monument was laid. And this happened last week, but I could not do on this day last week, so I'm just saying, this was on June the 20th, whatever it was, last Saturday. In 1991, Associate Justice Thurgood Marshall resigned from the U.S. Supreme Court. He had been appointed by President Lyndon Baines Johnson
Ooh, that's a while back.
in 1967.
Yeah.
So we got that in. And let's go ahead and let Gabriel get his 2 cents in so we get on that next ramble.
You know,
And
guys,
take us to,
just a quick
to the end of the show.
Corona/COVID update. We did have a private meeting happen last week between Comey, Pelosi, and 2 other top Democrats. They were caught in a close circle with no mask. Maybe COVID's not that big of a deal. Dr. Fauci in January 2020 this year said, don't worry about this COVID thing, it's no big deal. Then in March, he wanted the state shut down. Of course, May 27th, Dr. Fauci was on CNN. He said, these masks are just symbolic. They're not effective. And then the WHO came out June the 2nd and said, asymptomatic people are not contagious. And the surface spread, no, that doesn't really work either. Of course, CNN on 4/11 said Trump is so wrong in so many ways about this hydrochloroquine that it doesn't work. Well, July 2nd, CNN says study finds hydrochloroquine helped corona patients survive better. I don't know if you survive better, survive worse, but if you survive, you just survive.
Yes.
So it's an understanding that, in California, you cannot sing at a church because that's against corona spreading thing. Every governor, every city mayor that has put these ridiculous laws in place has gone to court and lost across the board. From the barber person that could cut hair, he did all the masks, he did all the other stuff, and they still shut him down. He took him to court, and she won. She won big on that one. So folks, just use your common sense. You should be washing your hands anyway. And the toilet paper thing, I still haven't figured that one out. That's something else. Using common sense is still good. But Eddie and I remember, we're of a similar age, that back when somebody got something like chickenpox or measles, everybody got together and everybody got it. And guess what? You had the antibodies.
Yeah.
Now we're busy running from something to hide that we can't wait to get a vaccine, which the vaccine is the virus, and that's how you get antibodies. But in the meantime, we're hiding. Just use common sense, folks. If you're sick, stay home. That's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you, Gabriel. And people, we do this show out of a sense of responsibility. Because there's a lot of stuff that comes to me that I can't talk about on this show, that I don't talk about on this show. So I kind of pretty much filter the stuff and give it to you sometime in doses that I think you can handle. Because I am a conservative black Republican.
Excuse me?
Here, in Tampa Bay area. And I know it's a lot of folks who hate my guts, for saying that. I'm actually looking at one of them on the monitor, but I don't think he hate my guts. He just he just kind of laughing at me, But at the end of the day, I am also president of the Temple Terrace Republican Club.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the only black member of the Temple Terrace Republican Club. But I had to make sure that people understand one thing. See, I was born again in 1953, and that made me black then. I was black then, and I've been black ever since.
So you're black enough.
Even though there was a period of time where black folks didn't want to be called black, that didn't stop them from being black.
Yeah.
Because some white man in New York who was working for New York Times came up with African American.
Oh,
See,
boy.
but a lot of folks don't know that. Like I say, sometimes stuff we don't know. We jumping on and we hoping. Even though it says African American, a white man decided to start calling all that. I've always been black. I ain't still black.
Black American.
So I make sure folks know. I am never gonna be offended because somebody called me black. Because I've been black my whole life, and at this point, it's kind of late to change.
So you're comfortable in your blackness.
So it's kind of late to change. So it's a lot of stuff out there that we should be worried about. But the most important thing that we should be worried about is that we as a community are going to be stronger together if we ever learn how to work together. We got one last call. Let's see if we can get that last call on. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio this Saturday afternoon. Make it quick. Who are you? Where you calling from? What say you? Hello?
Miss Adam, Tampa, Florida.
Yes, sir.
Adam,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you for listening.
How you doing? Look here, man. We was colored.
Go ahead.
I say they called me colored back
Colored.
in the 60s. I was colored.
Yeah, they did, but I was still black.
Thank you for that information, though. Thank you for that information.
There you go.
I'm
Yeah,
black
see-
now, but I started off colored.
But see, some blacks started off as Negroes,
Oh, yeah.
and some of them started off as colored, But see, I was black then, and I've been kind of black ever since. I haven't ran away from it. It never insulted me.
That's good.
I'm still black though, but it was covered in me, so I just let people know, so I remember that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man, y'all doing good.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
God bless you.
All right. So it's about that time. Whew, that's the quickest hour on radio, especially on Saturday mornings. We go through it. We make stuff happen. I'm glad that you're listening. I'm glad we get new listeners every week. And sometimes it's more heartfelt, the issues, and sometimes it's more thought-provoking about the community than it is in general. But at the end of the day, it's about how we make this community better, how we move it forward, and how we do it collectively. So folks on Facebook Live, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And the folks who are listeners, regular listeners, until we do this again next week, same bat time, same bat station, we love you.
God bless America.
Bye-bye.